Welcome to the stream. You're gonna have the zombie over here. It's Necrobarista again. Ooh. It's like because I'm just... What's my voice going to? Okay. So, oh, not this. Yeah, I was... Okay, so... Right. I'm just actually genuinely surprised how quiet I can speak and you guys can hear me almost perfectly fine. Though I think volume-wise there's not really much aside from the chill lo-fi music, so yeah. There we go, and yeah, welcome to the stream. Or if you're hunting zombie over here, time to just continue where we left off. Sadly, I didn't feel like going through the first chapter. I just only got to the prologue if I thought about it correctly. But I believe last time there was some big old thing happening there should be of mostly some kind of debt being paid off here, and I already tried to doodle. Okay. Right, where's the one little thing that I had? There it is. I'm gonna get my code again. You overdue this week, said Ed. He tapped the list of rules that Maddie kept posted by the door. It's 24-hour rule. Are you sure you've been enforcing it? I think we know how to run things around here. Now, who's Maddie again? Oh, it's the main character girl. I think we know how things are. I think how we run things around here is none of your business, said Maddie. Actually, it is my business, said Ned. In fact, keeping the rules is basically my only business. That's the kind of word enforcer means. I'm supposed to scold you for breaking the rules. So audit me, said Ned. Let me check your ledger. We don't have a ledger, said Maddie. Maybe you should, said Ned. Lots of places do. It's a great system. You have someone to stand at the door and have them mark down whenever someone comes in or leaves. And you forcibly evict people who are overstaying their welcome. I'm amazed that you don't have a system like that in place. Some people overstay their welcome. Other people understay it, said Che. There's no need to strictly keep track of how long people stay, right? Just maintain the balance. Right, said Ned. All that matters is maintaining the balance. So maintain the balance, because when you don't, then we have a problem. We're facing a bit short-staffed to have someone acting as a full-time doorman, said Maddie. Figure it out, said Ned. He tapped the board listing the rules. Charge 24 hours to 23. Wait, change 24 hours to 23 hours. When you say 24 hours, people think you just colloquially mean 1 day. They don't pay attention to the specific time. When you say 23 hours, people actually have to keep track of what time it is. That'll be fine, said Che, except for the part that you are cutting time off people's stay. Trust me, said Ned. Anyone who will go right up to the limit is probably going to over it. 23 hours is going to mean 23 hours plus an extra 5 minutes. 10 minutes, half hour plus however long it takes to finish your drink. And if they're gonna leave in less than 24 hours, who gives a shit? I give a shit, says Che. You're right, you should give a shit, said Ned. In fact, you should celebrate whenever you manage to screw someone out here in under 24 hours, because the balance is upset and you got to correct it. You can either correct correct the balance 1 hour at a time, or the council can come in here and repossess some souls. Or we can find someone who knows how to manage his property responsibly. He turned to Che. Come on, buddy. I don't want to have to take this place away from you. That will be quite the escalations, said Maddie. Well, you're already on the first level of escalation, which is stern talking to, said Ned. Let's not try to escalate it any further. Che sighed. Will. Maddie cut him off. We'll change the rule to 23 hours, okay? That's all. Wow, really? Said Ned. Well, okay then. While you're rewriting the signs, you should also take the green tea frappuccino off the menu. That should be for coffee, not tea. Done, said Maddie. Wait, really? Said Ned. Damn, I didn't realize you were so open to feedback. Also, that caramel. We'll take it under advertisement, said Maddie, placing a hand on Ned's chest and physically pushing him towards the door. Hold up, said Ned. What are you doing? Removing an unwanted guest, said Maddie. I need to practice if we're going to start enforcing those rules you care so much about. Sassy. Now I, said Ned. He continued backpedaling to stay upright. Look, could you just... Bye, said Maddie as Ned crossed the threshold out the cafe and Maddie shut the door in his face. She turned around, leaning her back against the door and sighed. Che raised an eyebrow. You're serious about the rule change? Yeah, said Maddie. I'll change the sign in the menu after we close tonight. Dang. Wait, really? The rule change is to keep him off our backs, said Maddie. And the menu thing? We need to take that off anyway, said Maddie. It's the kind of menu item that attracts the worst sort of people. Well, okay, said Che. Though I do think we should change the rule back to 24 hours after things haven't had enough time to balance out. Of course, said Maddie. Why want to set the balance too far in the opposite direction? What will we do with all the extra time anyway? Oh. Interesting. And what's here? It's music. Is it this cursor? Annie was washing her hands when Ashley poked her head around the corner. Does this not continue? You're to confess something or ask for something. Addie to herself as tried her hands and turned to face the girl. The grin on Ashley's face confirmed it was on the ladder. He arched an eyebrow to turn to the coffee grinder. Ashley stepped around the corner and stepped close enough to Maddie to occupy her field of view. Every time Maddie turned, Ashley again repositioned herself. She was waiting for Maddie to notice her. After a minute, Maddie decided that having Ashley hover around her was more distracting than indulging whatever it was she wanted to talk about. What do you need, Ashley? I don't need anything, said Ashley. Now you're mentioning it, needing things. I think you might need something. Jazz? An advisor. Ashley smiled triumphantly as she delivered the word. Uh-huh. What would I need an advisor for? To advise you, of course, said Ashley. And I suppose you have a suggestion for who I should take on as an advisor. No, said Ashley. Now you mention it, I'm not too busy. I could be your advisor. But you're not an expert on advising. That's what an advisor needs to know about. What makes you an expert on advising? I've been learning a lot about advisors, said Ashley. They get to help make important decisions, and then the person they're advising has to take responsibility for them. That's why I'll make a good advisor. Well, okay. Guess you don't want to take responsibility for your actions. I take responsibility for my advice. But if someone follows my advice, then that's their decision and their responsibility. Duh. I don't think I need an advisor, said Maddie. Oh, but you do, said Ashley. Aren't you always complaining about how busy you are? Yes, said Maddie. So busy that I don't have time to have extra counseling sessions with you. I'm not gonna be your counselor, Maddie. I'm gonna be your advisor. The difference being a counselor counsels and advisor advises. Of course, said Maddie. Busy people always seem to have advisors, said Ashley. The Prime Minister has advisors. Presidents too. All the most important people have advisors. Their advisors tend to be more experienced than they are, said Maddie. Advice travels from those who have it to those who need it. Well, I'm doing fine and I don't need advice, said Ashley. But you could do with some advising and I'm happy to give you all the advices I got. Plus, you're more important than I am. You're more of a Prime Minister of the terminal or the President of the terminal or whatever. You're not a person who needs advices. See, said Maddie. So I'm hired? You already have a lot on your plate, I'm sure, said Maddie. Nope, said Ashley. I got lots of time free. Ah, in that case, you should have time to wash these dishes for me, said Maddie, tossing a drying rag to Ashley. Let me know when you're done. Wait, said Ashley. I'm only free to advise. I'm physically fatigued from a long day of work. Only my mind has extra processing power. I can only help you if it's by advising. No, advising has physical responsibility associated with it, right? Like sometimes an advisor will go places to get important information. I guess so, said Ashley. I can go any day. Wait, hold on. I can do anything that relates to giving you information. In that case, advisor Ashley, I need you to give me a report on which of these plates looks best when it's sparkling clean. Okay, I'm dirty right now. Exactly. Time for you to do some investigative research. Yeah. Damn. You definitely went up there. Where's the other one? There it is. Oh, there's even more here. Ashley stepped behind a counter and wince as the floor creaked underneath her feet. Maddie was nowhere to be seen, but Maddie did possess a remarkably sharp sense of hearing. Luckily, the cafe was empty as Ashley tiptoed the case where Maddie kept the baked goods. She left the counter. She lifted the glass lid off the case and closed her eyes as the scent of yesterday in Lamingtons wafted up and overwhelmed her. Ashley has spent most of her life convinced that she didn't like coconuts, but that had changed the day that Shade introduced her to Lamingtons. To be fair, Ashley still wasn't sure that she actually liked coconut. The frosting could make anything taste good, but she couldn't deny the cake's irresistible lure. Ashley lifted the Lamington from the case and gently set the lid back down. She raised the Lamington to her lips and opened her mouth to take a bite. Ashley? In a moment of panic, Ashley shoved the pastry into her mouth and sealed her lips. She was quickly overwhelmed by the pastry's thick, covering, and she did her best to choke it down before turning to face Maddie. Said Ashley, hoping her cheeks didn't betray what was inside. Good, you're here, said Maddie. This is a bad sign. Maddie expressed pleasure at seeing Ashley. Normally, Maddie wavered between being annoyed by Ashley's presence and being indifferently intolerant of her. Anytime Maddie was happy to see Ashley, it meant work. I need to deliver something to Che for me, said Maddie, turning to the counter picking up a small bottle of something. As Maddie turned her attention to the bottle, Ashley took advantage of a momentary distraction to gulp down the remainder of the pastry. No time to chew, but her teeth wouldn't have much good with the thick frosting. You're not busy, are you? Said Maddie. Ashley shook her head no. The pastry was no longer inside her mouth to create a conspicuous bulge of her cheeks, but the opening of her mouth would reveal the thick chocolate frosting that was still probably present on her teeth. So she kept her lips sealed. Good, said Maddie. He's upstairs. Get this to him ASAP. She handed the bottle to Ashley, and Ashley found herself surprised at how light the bottle was. Looking down, she could see that the bottle had thin walls. Within those thin walls, it contained some clear liquid, and it was was held in place with a metal clamp, hermetically sealed. Ashley turned towards the stairs, holding the neck of the bottle in one and letting out a sigh. One last thing. They swallowed her sigh with a gulp and closed her mouth before facing Maddie's lips tightly shut. "Be careful not to drop it," said Maddie. "Thousands could die if you spill any of it." In another situation, Ashley would have asked Maddie a probing question to figure out what was in the bottle, or get some idea of significance of the task that should have been assigned to her. Significant enough that thousands' lives held in balance. Apparently, not important enough for Maddie to do it herself. But Ashley's lips remained sealed, and she merely nodded and turned around. Living things were not meant to be consumed in a single bite, especially by mouths small as Ashley's. The thickness of frosting that lingered in her mouth and throat made her desperate to ask for some kind of drink, but she dared not ask for one. Ashley looked down the bottle, unsure of the best way to carry it. The bottle was slightly too large for her to hold in one hand, and grasping it in front of her two hands felt awkward. The bottle was heavy, but Ashley's confidence in her ability to carry the bottles without dropping it was less than perfect. Should she carry it under her arm protectively? No, feeling like it was put her at a greater risk of fumbling the bottle. The crook of her elbow wasn't dexterous as her fingertips. She settled for carrying the bottle with one hand placed under the bottom to hold the weight, the other hand wrapped around the neck to steady it. Ashley walked slowly with the bottle as she ascended the stairs. Maddie hasn't told her the liquid was volatile, and the bottle was hermetically sealed, so there's zero chance of anything spilling out. That didn't change the sense of trepidation Ashley felt. Armed with the knowledge that those were potentially thousands of lives at stake, she cringed every time she saw the liquid sloshing inside the bottle, leaping up and lapping at the edge of the seal. When he realized her arms were shaking, and pressed the bottle against her chest, hoping to steady it. As Ashley's hand shook nervously with the bottle held against her chest, she wondered if the large amount of sugar she just forced down her throat had something to do with the shaking. It was more likely that her shaking was a result of being told that thousands of lives could be lost if she dropped the bottle. Still, the lingering taste of the pastry in her mouth didn't help. She silently lamented the fact that she has been forced to consume the lemingtons so abruptly. Lemingtons were a treat to be savored, not shoved into one's mouth for in a moment of panic. She hadn't had a chance to properly enjoy it. It was hard to simultaneously get the pleasure of a tasty treat and the panic of being caught. Whatever the outcome of this errand, she had wasted a wonderful pastry. Several agonizing minutes later, Ashley arrived at the top of the stairs and spotted Che standing at the handrail. As she walked up, Che turned to face her and she presented him with the bottle. She cleared her throat of any lingering stickiness before speaking. "Maddie said you need this." "Oh, good," said Che. "I was running low." Ashley gasped with relief as Che took the bottle from her and started to taking labored breaths, slowly becoming aware of how high her heart rate was. Che popped open the seal on the bottle and splashed some of it onto her rack. Several drops dripped onto the floor and Ashley let out a terrified squeak. "Something wrong?" said Che. Maddie said that thousands of lives could be destroyed by what's in that bottle." "That's the idea," said Che, as he folded the rag and ran it along the rail that overlooked the cafe's ground level. This is supposed to kill 99.9% of all bacteria. It leaves hundreds of bacteria alive, but I try not to think too hard about that part." Ashley's jaw dropped. "It's disinfected?" "Yeah," said Che. "Why did Maddie not tell you?" Ashley's shoulders slumped in a mix of relief and exasperation. "She only told me that it could kill thousands." You didn't ask what she meant by that?" "No," said Ashley. "I was preoccupied." "Huh," said Che. He turned his attention to the railing and expecting it for a moment before continuing to wipe it. He turned to head back stairs. Wait, Ashley. As she turned to face Che, he reached down and placed a finger on her shirt, wiping a bit of frosting. He raised it to his finger and smelled it. What? He said. Yes, said Ashley. One of Maddie's Lemingtons? Yes, said Ashley. She nodded and licked the frosting off his finger. Go downstairs and bring one for me too, will you? Oh, she was caught after all along, and hello, Giraffe, welcome to the stream. I'm just quickly, finishing off all these dialogues that I have here before continuing on to the story. They're pretty long, but honestly, they're not a bad read. Like, they're pretty nice to read too. But the thing is that my throat does die. Thankfully, I have like a handful of drinks to preoccupy to satiate my thirst. No, that's a weird way to say it. Brad took a sip of his beer. It was not alcoholic, but there was something about the dry aftertaste that kept him frosty. He leaned over the table and lined up his next shot. He eyed the problematic 9-ball in the upper right-hand corner. He had a low percentage shot on it if he elected to bank it in, but he had 2 other stripes in the lower left to set it up. If he had an audience, he would go for the bank shot for sure. He liked the chance to shine. But today, there was no one to impress, no audience for flashy low percentage shots. He took the shots on 11 and 12, and 3 shots later, sunk the 9. An easy shot on the 8 sealed the deal. Brad scanned the table. Where some of the balls remained, a dismal performance on his part, or still a performance on the part of the Stripes player. That was the problem with playing against yourself. You always won, but you always lost too. Brad chugged the remainder of his beer and added it to his collection of empties, which is now stood 5 bottles strong. He took a moment to survey the room. Oh, hold on. If there's another thing that does something to the door after hour 3, haha. Singing. What else were you thinking? He took a moment to survey the room. His table wasn't the only one of the 4 that was in use. It didn't come as a surprise to him. It was early in the evening, and he had grown accustomed to spending time alone in his room. He knew when he could come here to be alone and when other sharks showed up. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Brad grabbed the triangle. It was looped around the collection of beer bottles to set the balls in order for another round. Why am I hiccuping? Someone came up the stairs, and Brad looked up briefly, long enough to see a woman he recognized as a down-faced barkeep who had served him the beers that kept him company for the past hour or 2. Okay, the hiccup should be gone now. Several steps behind the woman, he saw an older-looking man. The man stopped in front of the table opposite of Bard's and began chalking up his cue. It's not Bard, it's Brad. Brad directed his attention to the man. He usually offered people a game when they came up, but the man seemed to prepare to keep to himself. So Brad said nothing and tried to focus on his own table. He set up a break, and the older man coughed as he shot. He hit the cue ball just a fraction of a degree off. It bounced off the rack into one of the side pockets, and as the rest of the balls shot and jostled around the table. Think. Brad didn't swear when playing pool. His earliest experience with competitive billiards has been in an environment that forbade obscenities and issued foul penalties every time he let it involuntarily shit or fuck. He had to find cleaner substitutes. Came the sound from the old man's table. 2, 3, 4. put down his brake cue and picked up the letter-tipped cue that was leaning against the table. 6. Brad chalked up his cue, trying to avoid the tilt of his bad brake. 7. 8. He lined up to shoot and realized that the man was already finishing his balls out of the pocket. Wait, fishing. Not finishing. Fishing. He lined up the shot and realized that the man was already fishing his ball. Okay. He lined up to shoot and realized that the man was already fishing his balls out the pockets, collecting them into triangle. Brad did a double take. The man sucked the 8-ball after 8 strokes, including break. Brad continued playing his own table, but kept an eye on the other man this time. And again, break. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A perfect, clean sweep. As the man began clearing the table, Brad walked over. "Excuse me," he said, "but I couldn't help but notice you had 2 perfect games." "What's that?" The man turned to Brad, squinting at him. Brad repeated himself, a bit louder this time. "I was complimenting you on 2 perfect games. Impressive stuff." The man heaved his shoulders. "Sometimes you got a bit of old luck on your side." "Still," Brad said Brad, "you don't see any novices hitting 2 consecutive perfect games." The man offered another ineffectual shrug. It's Brad saying this, right? Yeah, it is. "Do you, want to play a game?" Brad gestures to his own table, which is already set up. "Most of the people who come here tend to be novices. I've been itching for a bit of competition." Brad paused, but the man said nothing. "Of course, if you prefer to play your own table, I don't mean to intrude." "We can play," said the man. "No, I wouldn't. Though if Hyrule can shoot perfect a 3rd time, you won't get to." "I'll be impressed if you can pull that off," said Brad. The older man racked the balls and stepped away from the table to let Brad break. Brad leaned over the table and took several practice strokes before finally connecting with the cue ball. The break was weaker than he had expected, but he managed to sink 1 ball. He looked at the table, annoyed, and realized that he hadn't bothered to check if the rack was frozen before he broke. His next shot was a straight into the middle pocket. He briefly visualized the trajectory of the cue ball in his mind. It would be easy to knock the 6-ball in, then bounce toward the front of the table. Brad wasn't confident where exactly the ball would stop, but he was confident that he was able to do something with it. He took in the shots and 6-ball went in. Solid. After the cue ball settled, he found himself with no good options. Brad smiled. Making something out of nothing was a specialty. After a few moments of eyeing different angles, he settled on a shot towards one of the bottom pockets. A striped ball was in the way. So Brad hit the cue ball several degrees to the side, curving its trajectory around the enemy ball. It hit a solid 3-ball, and the shot was made. Brad looked at the man, hoping for some kind of reaction. The man's mouth remained a flat line, but his eyebrows arched. If anything, the man's lack of oblivious expression struck him as a deliberate attempt to not show a response. He had managed to get a slight rise out of the old man. It felt like a sweet victory. Brad made his next shot quickly, an easy straight-in shot on the 2-ball, made without thinking where the cue ball would land. That was a problem for future Brad. But several seconds later, present Brad found himself scooting past Brad for putting him in such a foul position. He was corner hooked. With the cue ball trapped next to a corner pocket, the only angle available to Brad existed in a 60-degree arc. He surveyed his limited options and breathed a sigh of relief as a relatively straightforward bank shot presented itself. It was an awkward angle, but he knew he could coax the 3-ball into the opposite corner pocket. He took the shot, watching as the 3-ball rolled compliantly into his designated pocket. Unfortunately, the cue ball went with it, ending Brad's turn and placing the ball in the man's possession. I could have swore the man winked at him as he fished the cue ball and lined up the simple shot on the side pocket. The 9 went in, then the 11, then the 12. Brad found himself taking it for granted that each strike ball would enter designated pockets and instead focus on the cue ball. Somehow, the cue ball was wound up in a position that presented the Ulster with an ideal chip shot. Ball after ball fell off the bed, till finally only the black 8-ball and Brad's solids remained. Fortunately for Brad, the 8-ball and the cue ball were at the opposite sides of the table, with several of Brad's in between. The man eventually gave up and settled for a defensive shot that put the cue ball behind the 8. Now the tables were turned. Brad was the one cut off from his balls. He lived for shots like this. He took the shot. The cue ball hit the 8 and 8 hit the 1, and the 1 hit the 7, bouncing it against the front table into the one of the side pockets. Brad couldn't help but smile. Things couldn't have gone better if he planned for them. Instinct and muscle memory did what his calculating mind couldn't. Now the table was conveniently free of straight balls. Brad had no trouble sinking the remaining consecutive shots that he needed to close out the game. As Brad lined up the final shots on the 8-ball, he studied the older guy. If the man was reacting, he couldn't tell. Brad closed his eyes as he completed the final stroke, as he always did. He wasn't really religious. He stopped going to church with his mom when he was 12. But it always felt right to leave the results of the game to God. Damn, said the old man as the 8-ball fell into its pocket. Brad flinched. He had hoping for praise from the man for winning this game. Perhaps a damn was all that man was prepared to offer. Excuse me, said Brad, but I don't think we're bothered to exchange names. I'm Brad. Tom. The old man extended a hand. I've got to say, said Brad, you're quite a player. I take it you're not from around here. No, said the man. I grew up in Brisbane, retired in Sydney. I'm just passing good. Brad nodded. I figured. I actually grew up in this neighborhood. I played on tables just like these when I was a kid, so I know most of the folks on the local competitive circuit. I guess someone like you would have to play competitively, huh? You don't pick up skills like that in a tiny pond. You'd be surprised, said Thomas. A man can accomplish quite a bit when given enough idle time. Well, you have played competitively, said Brad. I used to, yes, said Thomas. I actually formally retired many years ago, but kept the table at home for practice to keep my mind sharp. Would you compete? Oh, I toured in England. Wait, said Brad. You were a pro? A pro makes a salary, said Thomas. I won enough to cover my travel expenses and make up for the time I spent not working a real job. Brad couldn't hide his excitement. Wait, you said England. Did you ever play in a World Village Championship? Yup, said old man. I played a WBC for a few years, but eventually I decided the title was a summit I'll never reach. So I quit. Wait, said Brad again. You said your name was Thomas. Are you Thomas Wallet? Indeed I am, said Thomas. You're a legend. I think you might be overstating it, said Thomas. Even when I was in my prime, I wasn't the best. Results speaks for themselves. No, look at that, said Brad. You were a finalist for 6 years running. Nobody's ever done that consistent. Even the best pros have managed to run a hot burnout after more than two or 3 years. Thomas sipped his beer. I spent hundreds of hours watching a video. Wrong voice. I spent hundreds of hours watching a video, said Brad. I didn't realize there were videos of me, said Thomas. I have tapes of the finals from 1967, 1968, said Brad. They didn't record it before that, but your last 2 years got recorded for posterity. They're kind of rarities at this point, but I had a coach who had a vault of old footage. Coach. Thomas arched an eyebrow. Yeah, said Brad. You didn't have a coach? Tom shook his head. We mostly just taught ourselves and each other. Sometimes you gotta practice with people better than you, but that was it. Well, I mostly taught myself, said Brad. But after I started winning some regionals, I joined a team so I could get sponsored and have a group to train with. Interesting. Brad waited for Thomas to question further, but no further questions came. They decided to continue without an invitation. I won the WBC in 2012. No Lexus then, I take it, said Thomas. Brad staring out. Well, yeah. He laughs awkwardly. I've never been a consistent player. Not like you, anyway. He offered a sheepish grin. My mom had an album full of article clippings and talking about me like I was some kind of prodigy. And expecting, now it feels like I'll be lost forever to be a footnote in history. Brad waited for the words of information to come from his hero. Thomas just took another drink from his glass, finishing it off before setting it down next to Brad's empty bottle. Said Brad, feeling foolish. Can I get you a drink for exchange of another drink game? It'll be a real pleasure. Sure, said Thomas. Give me a Guinness. Actually, make it two. Brad sprinted down the stairs and returned several minutes later with a tray bearing 2 pints of Guinnesses. Thomas began setting up the table for the next game, Brad hovering over him. You know, said Brad, this place is pretty magical. You need to play a game of pool like this. He wasn't quite sure how to say it, but figured Thomas knew what he was getting at. At this sort of place where anything can happen, you know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying. Not anything, said Thomas. There are limits. Well, yeah, said Brad. But still, 2 former champs, one coming back from, beyond the grave, so to speak. That's not the kind of encounter you expect having anywhere else. Thomas looked at him. Meant to go indeed. When I walked up here, I didn't realize that you were, he rubbed his chin. Let's just say I don't meet a lot of pool pros at bars. He took a sip of beer. You want a break? Sure. Brad broke in. With his hand guided by instinct, managed to sink 5 balls consecutively. Like magic, his shots always connected. Some people might buckle under pressure, but Brad's performance always seemed to rise to the occasion. With just 2 stripes balls left, Brad knew he was on a streak. As he lined up his next shot, he took a moment to consider the position of the 8 ball. It was nestled in an awkward position behind Thomas's ball. But if he could clear a path to it while sinking in the last stripe, Brad looked into the sea of balls and knew there was no way for him to mentally calculate every vector. But instinct has gotten him this far, and he wasn't about to stop listening to him now. Brad took the shot and the cue ball knocked the last stripe ball into the corner pocket. Then the cue ball bounced off the table, back towards Thomas's cluster balls. Brad grinned in elation as the cue ball hit a solid, which hit another, and another in a chain reaction that sent the 8 ball heading right towards the corner just as he wanted. It was heading right towards the corner where there were no balls to intercept it. It was heading right towards the corner, into the pocket. He stopped grinning. Brad knew with a growing dread that the friction of the cloth wouldn't be enough to stop the ball in time. He watched the impending disaster happen in slow motion, powerlessly to stop it. The game was going so well. He had been about to hit a perfect game in front of his childhood hero, and now he was going to lose it in the most inglorious way imaginable. An accident. Illegal combination shot. Brad closed his eyes, but not even God could help him now. He didn't need to see it. The sound of a ball plunking into the pocket was enough. He lost the game. Is that it? Dang. What a... Okay. Hopefully the story will continue. is going to die. The expression of Jack's face was expectant when Maddie came down the kitchen carrying his plates. Expectant, but not impatient. The expression fits his posture, sitting upright with his hand folded, resting in front of him. Your halibut is ready. Jack's eyebrow raised when Maddie set the plates down in front of him. He closed his eyes and lowered his chin just a tad, allowing the scent of a grilled fish wafted into his nostrils as he drank in the odor. After several moments passed, a smile crawled onto his face as he grabbed a fork and cutting the halibut up. It was several mouthfuls in when Maddie spoke up. I thought you said you weren't going to eat it, said Maddie. Couldn't help myself, said Jack. Smelled too good not to give it a taste, and taste too good to stop. I couldn't help but notice the hesitation, said Maddie. Jack held up the fork, which had a piece of fish speared on it. You know, a fish like this, you never know what kind of memory it's going to bring up. Not all memories are good, but this fish, it tastes like an adventure. Conquest. You fish much? You can say that, said Jack with a grin. I made it out on the water several days each year. Catch any big ones? Lots, I'm sure, said Jack. But I'm more of a quantity over size kind of person. The most important weight is your tally at the end of the day. I'm not the patient kind of fisherman. Where do you learn to be so patient if not from fishing? Fishing is the only time I'm not a patient man, said Jack. Funny, said Maddie. I tend to hear the opposite from a lot of people. I take really long vacations, said Jack. When you fish? That's when you fish? That's when I don't fish, said Jack. You're a fish chaseman. Better known as a fisherman, said Jack. But yeah. You know, you could have led with that, you know, said Maddie. Didn't I? Said Jack. Well, like I said, I don't really get on the water very often. And yet, it's your profession, said Maddie. I don't think that will mean more days on the water. Such is life in Alaska, he said. Fishing season gets shorter every year. Ah, of course, said Maddie. Halibuts are seasonal. You can only catch them when they migrate, is that it? It's the kind of business that only people open a few days out of the year thanks to Mother Nature. Thanks to government, said Jack. In 1970, halibut season was 150 days long. Then it got shortened to 100. You only got to work 100 days of the year? No ma'am, said Jack. Oh shoot. 100-day halibut season was before my time. No man, said Jack. 100-day halibut season was before my time, but by the time I found myself on the side of the Pacific, they were down to the fishing debris derbies. Actually, that's what got me down there. Derbies. All the fish you can catch for 24 hours. They're spaced out. Fishing season is just a few days a year few days a year now. Can't you make a living out of that? You can catch a lot of fish in one day, said Jack. That's why they had to shorten the season. It doesn't take very skiffs on the water before I have a problem with overfishing. I was sold on the promise of working for several days out the year and being able to come back home and live the good life for 360 days of the year. That didn't have to work. He grinned in a way that suggested he wanted Maddie to prompt further. Did Alaska deliver on the promise? Said Maddie. Is America truly a land where streets are paved with gold? No, the streets are paved with gold, even though I'm told there's black gold to be found in Alaska. But yes, Alaska did deliver what was promised. I worked 7 derbies a year and I made enough to live pretty well. I just skipped the part where I was supposed to come back home. Huh? What's the matter? Said Maddie. Didn't you want to sail back to Australia? Afraid of getting seasick? No ma'am, said Jack, apparently missing her joke. Seasick. You met someone who convinced you to stay. Maybe you someone, said Jack. You spend some time after working a skiff with someone. That's the kind of bond you don't find easily. And it's not the kind of thing you give up easily. What kind of bond working only for a few days out of a year, said Maddie. It's intense, said Jack. It's like being in a line of duty. It's a little like going to war. War against the vicious. War against the sea, said Jack. When it's out for a catch for 24 hours, you don't have time to be safe. Once the day arrives, you're on the water, no matter the weather. And those skiffs are not large boats. Every 1,000 fishermen go out. 997 come back. Firefighters had better odds than that. Soldiers had better odds than that. So yeah, it's kind of like a bit like going to war. You only lost 3 people out of 1,000 people. Those firefighters and soldiers, really, huh? Huh? Okay. He looked down at the fish in front of him for a moment. There were some times I could swear I could smell death on the water. And every time you pull up to the shore with a boat full of fish and the same number of men you're left with, it was like a giant middle finger to death's face, broken to a grin. In those moments, you can feel more at home. And when you have that kind of experience with someone, you don't fuck off to spend another years in Austria. You know. He tapped his chest. I'm one of them now. Jack looked around and Maddie realized that it was a moment she'd seen Jack really take notice of the space he was in. His eyes squinted as he scanned the shelves behind her and the people and tables around him. But I ended up here. I think I always knew I would be here sooner or later. That was a bit short. It was a lot shorter than the other one. Wait, it's 2. Oh. Where's the 1? The heck was that? Oh, I can see it if I just hold on like this. Wait a second, don't tell me. Okay, there's nothing here. Alright. Wait till 1? Oh god. Hello, Ashley. And no. Hello, Maddie. Is Che here? No. Oh god. Oh, that's where the fisherman. What? I can leave? What? 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 Oh, I read the thing of reverse. Maddie's also the counter and open the door. I'll read this later. Battle Royale's robot's power ranking. Windlass. When I first saw the name of this robot, I thought it was a style to be like a girl with a red horse. I don't want to read anymore. Anyways, let's just continue. Yes, please. Excuse me. Day 2, 12 p.m. The terminal. Whoa. Rise and shine. Who's that? Ready? Don't wanna. You shouldn't waste your time your last... Oh, it's... Okay, you should waste your last hours on Earth sleeping. Man, I was hoping that was a really long... I was hoping that I was having a really long weird dream. Sorry, no such luck. I'm still having trouble getting my head around it. I totally understand. Want a coffee? Yeah. Just something simple. Hipster coffee coming right up. What's going down downstairs? I don't even know you have it downstairs. There's more to this place than meets the eyes. Maddie's down there, desperately trying to fix her debt situation. It sounds like she's hosting a cage match or something. Well, not exactly. But she's mentioned wanting to do that. There's some wrestler called the Red Comet that she wouldn't stop talking about for a while. And then, because of that, Ashley got obsessed with wrestling for a bit and kept trying to suplex me. Did she manage to? She's tiny. A couple of times. It was really humiliating. I can imagine. But to properly answer your question, Maddie's running a gambling ring. Downstairs? All by herself? It's a fairly unconventional one. And by unconventional, you mean mortals generally aren't involved. Stakes are higher than usual. Oh. Coffee's ready. Come and get it. Come over and get it. They gamble for time, among other things. You don't sound like you're a huge fan of the idea. I'm not. It's undignified. Shoot, I mean, as long as something. The council doesn't... Oh, no. As long as it doesn't incur the debt. Okay. The council doesn't like it. They turn a blind eye because we don't cause trouble otherwise. I'd rather not have to worry about bad things coming over our way. Because Maddie refuses to approach the problem from a different angle. And by problem, you mean the debt, yeah. I was pretty drunk, but I think I remember Maddie storming off after Ned turned up. Yes, I'm a bit worried about her. Wish I could help. You all seem pretty nice. The thoughts appreciated. Maddie will figure it out eventually though, I'm sure. She just needs time. Hey, thanks for the coffee by the way. At least you haven't actually made me pay for a bunch of them. How do you expect to pay them? Oh, right. No, yep, no cash. If I'm feeling particularly capricious, I'll ask you to pay time. Oh, to ask you to pay in time. Well, you're a nice kid, and you need every minute you got. The heck? You want to head downstairs? I can see your eyes darting to the stairs. I'm not going down, but I'm not going to stop you. Yeah, if that's okay. Go on then. I'll stick around here. Catch you in a bit. So, what's going on downstairs, eh? Also, I have like 1, 2, 3, 4 bottle caps all lined up here. I'm just like fiddling around with like some kind of fidget toy. Pretty fun, to be honest. The stairs led to the basement were solid and well-worn, with smooth ruts on each steps and a handrail that's been polished to a silky sheen throughout years of use. Deshaun always liked stairwells. People never lingered in them for long, but he found them to be a good place to catch a breather. He wasn't obsessed with them. That'd be weird. I definitely appreciate the nice set of stairs. On further reflection, it was probably a little weird. Downstairs, Maddie audience clamored for blood. From you to me, with the understanding of the remaining moments on this plane are limited, you surrendered this time freely without coercions as agreed. Contract fulfilled, you're free to go. Phew. That's 3 in a row, you bloodthirsty bastards. The crowd cheered. Patty was clearly an expert when dwindling up into a frenzy. Who's next? The room fell dead silence. Come on, isn't anyone here brave enough to challenge me? You came here to play with knives, you pansies. Seriously? Anyone? Don't hold out on me. Do I need to pick someone out from the crowd then? Is that what we come to? Many gay-swept audience. Good shot. Good to see you upright. Interested in a game of skill? Me? Yes, you. Oh, sure. Give me some enthusiasm, my man. Sure. What's the game? I would be careful that. It's a knife game. Woohoo! Some people in here just call it the knife game. Oh, that's what I just called. Okay. You heard of it? Oh, finally, something I'm good at. Damn, son. Wait, it's already episode 3? I thought it was episode... Okay. Rise and shine. I actually want to play, like have a gameplay in this instead of, like play the fighting, whatever. I don't know the lives in this place. Tell me about it. Damn. Damn, this thing has a good weight to it. Of course, I wouldn't want to make you compete with an inferior tool. What? Sorry, I was just waiting for you to sink into calling me an inferior tool. Shit, that was low-hanging fruit, wasn't it? Next time, mate. Sure. Sean did another experimental slash, and this time it made it audible. Spectators oohed and ah. This wasn't for them. He only knew that he had one shot to get accustomed to the blade. You done showing off? Nothing wrong with putting up a little show. Sounds like you're stalling for time. Getting cold feet, perhaps? Not a chance. Let's get started then. You know what you're wagering. Jay mentioned something about you gambling with time. It's not a gambling, it was a game of skill. But that's beside the point. We're both wagering 4 hours. If you win, it comes from the cafe's balance. If I win, it comes for yours. You've got around 16 hours left in case you want to keep track. Shit, only that many? Want a little extra time to play with then? Hell yes. Let's stop wasting it and get this over with. Wait, soak up. One shot. Sorry, I was a bit too focused on reading it. I still can't cover the fact that one shot was a lot more emotional than I expected. Like a lot more than I don't know. The funny thing was I thought I could handle it a little bit, but funny enough I couldn't. No, I wasn't trying to say I was trying to keep face or anything. It was just really unexpected, I guess. I don't know. Like, I really enjoyed it. Like, overall, it's not a bad game. Well, probably not the fact that I may or may not miss like a good old chunk of a puzzle because I was too stupid to think that one part was in a big old loop instead of like something else, but really good game. But, oof, am I ready for the trauma to, well, not really trauma, but like another emotion roller coaster ride. Ooh, that will probably be a hold off for like a little bit more longer than I expected. It's getting a bit soft here, you know. You sure you know what you're getting yourself into? Most people are pretty shy about playing with the time they have left, especially with their tanks running empty as yours. Yup. Come on. Unless you're getting the cold feet. Hardly. You got 30 seconds. Select the timer when you're ready. Ooh. 1, Crowd cheered and Kashan fed their enthusiasm. In response, Maddie leaned back and tapped her finger on the table, being impatience. You meet her eyes, grinned in continuous performance. The stabbing motion gets faster as he went, the point narrowly missing each of his fingers. Stab strong enough to drive a knife a millimeter or two into the table. Or good if you wanted to put on a show. And of course, giving the spectators a show was part of the fun. You might go fast enough to put on a show, but you're not fast enough to win. I do. 16 sets if I counted correctly. Well, I couldn't do 16. That's all Maddie beat me with. She gonna lose? Nah, she's gonna kick his arse. Feeling good about the results. Certainly am. Radio, then. Watch closely. Whoa, I win. 16. Woo! I'm ready. 1. B. 7. 11. 1, 3, 7, 11, 15. I'm fine with looking at my PC user thing. It's just an old username I don't even use anymore. Like, I don't even know any account stats still we use that has like none. Like 0. Maybe some old account stats like lost in the internet somewhere out in the world that I don't know. I don't actually, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit weird, yeah, but I didn't really care. Plus, I have no other names to put my PC to. For God's sake, like my name on the phone, instead of saying my name, it just says me, M-E. So when it says notifications about something, it's like, good job, me. Or hey, me. Yeah, I'm not really good at naming things. That name though, it's about like, ooh, I just remembered the history of it. It's about ooh, pretty long time ago. 13 years ago? I don't know, it's a really long time. A decade? Probably a decade old. Anyways, told ya, she's unbeatable. Is it magic? She could cheat if she wanted to. Definitely not, she's just that good. Poor guy, he didn't even know what he was getting himself into. Sorry, mate. You beat me fair and square. I'm pretty impressed. I aim to please. I'll be taking those hours now if you don't mind. Yeah, sure. How does this work? Stuck. Just like this. You won't feel a thing. John felt a brief tightness in his chest for a moment, then the tip of Maddie's finger burned my heart. Sorry, I lied. It's done now, though. Alright. Does anyone else dare to compete with me? Come on. Looking for some actual decent opposition here. I'll take any challenge. Even if it's chess or something. Any challenge. I challenge you to get everyone a drink. Sounds on me. I didn't realize you were watching. There wasn't anything happening upstairs, so I got bored. Right. So, you took us hours from Kashan, huh? Yes, I did. Do you feel good about that? Che, do you? I want them fair and square. He didn't know what he was getting into. There was an obvious power imbalance here that you were exploiting. He knew the rules. That doesn't change anything. Led him to believe that he would get some extra time. And preparing a miracle on his part absolutely wasn't going to happen. It doesn't matter. He was just passing through. A couple of hours won't make any difference. Damn. Maddie, I'm disappointed in you. I really, to be honest, I could actually scream and make it more emotional, but I'm just trying to keep it down a little bit. Oh god, I feel like not to disrespect the dub, but it just feels like a lack of like emotions put into it, I guess. But anyways, our patrons respect us. We need to earn that respect by treating them with respect ourselves. It's not respectable or dignified. Cheating vertical pastors out of their time. We're above that. We're better than that. I don't care whether you think it's dishonest or not. I want you to give that poor man his time back. Don't pout. This is serious. I feel like a broken record saying this, but while I understand your intentions are good, you can't just keep going doing these things. It's all for you. If you really want to do this for me, find another way. This isn't worth it, Maddie. It breaks my heart to see you like this, and I know you're trying your hardest. But this is really, truly, it's not worth sacrificing your own self-respect over. Everyone here respects you, but your gambling with hours just cheapens that. I'll give the hours back. Damn, that was pretty great with the knife. Still not as good as me. Up and down, yeah. Maddie is what? Saddy? Sad? Is that we? Okay. Yeah, that was pretty close. Nice shot. Rise and shine. Wait, is it already episode 4 already? Should be taking a while to walk, you know? It is. Lovelands. Yes. What kind of form do you have before being reborn? I'm not really in a mood to do like a monotone. I think it was a crap. Come on, I'm being serious. I actually want to harvest liquid from a crab. You're assuming a lot about how squeamish she is. As far as I can remember, I live above the streets next to the sky. So bird then. It's a human living in a skyscraper. Wings and feather and such. No, not that. I do remember flying though. Oh, were you a super glider? Describe. Did you eat insects and tree saps and flower nectar? That is familiar. Wonder how Ashley found you then. Could have been anything really. You mentioned bright lights earlier. Ooh. Yeah, I'm thinking you got hit by a car. That seems likely. Is that bad? I mean, you're here now, so whatever you like it or not. Shut up. I'm still adjusting. I am still adjusting. Oh shoot, there's more stuff to read. Oh god, my throat is not ready for it. That's what she said. Look at you turning into a responsible human being. Knife. Studio mode is now available. You can talk to Kashan to access the studio mode. Death. Billiards. Oh no, I don't want to read this again. Fisherman 3. What's in here? Oh, Ashley's journal too. I'm lost. Oh. What is this? How is this place even work? What the heck? I'm guessing I have to... How do you get out of here? Like this? No. This? No. No. The rotten poppy. Let's go get a little girl. The man standing in front of Beth smirked. The knife he has seemed almost slight compared to his massive answer. There's just one quick came a call from the knife holder. 3 men stand behind him. Wait, 15, what? Sorry, I'm just quickly reading through this. Dang, she actually beat him up. Wait, Tyler Durden? What? Yeah, I guess I didn't have to read this. It was this one I hate to read. John's footsteps echoed in a way that startled him. Was his footsteps this loud? Perhaps it was the contrast with the surrounding environment, which seems to completely silent, that made his footfall seem so jarringly loud as he walked along the catwalk. He was on a catwalk. Why was he on a catwalk? There seems to be a gaping space below him, filling with some kind of source of mist that he couldn't see through. It was fog-light, yet despite the fog that lapped his feet, the air felt so dry. The air was sick here. As he breathed heavily, Kashan's felt an overwhelmingly sickly odor, like the smell of rotten wood, and all he could see around him were steel beams and a concrete path in front of him. Wasn't rust he smelling? No, he knew the smell of rust. This was different. The smell was somehow organic. The smell of the floors after a fresh rainfall. Sean shivered. Oops. For a distance, he could see what looks like a sort of building, some sort of so far away that it made the structure he seems almost tunnel, like its only purpose is to convey him to that distant building. He continued walking forward, but as he walked, the building seems to be growing more and more distant. Quickened his pace as he walked faster. He could feel himself moving through the thick, stifling air, yet he looked down. He could see the texture of the catwalk in front of him change as though he were walking in place. John started to turn backward, but saw only a blinding light. His eye immediately shut, but when he opened them, he was again facing into the tunnel, with the distant building at the center of its view. He tried turning around, but every time he tried to turn his head, his eyes involuntarily shut at the sight of the light. He was forced to close his eyes or look away, and was confronted again with the sight of the small hut. He opened his eyes. Where was I? His heart pounded violently inside his chest. The tunnel was so quiet that he could hear his own heartbeat, feeling its own pulse inside of his head. Something about this place felt deeply, incredibly wrong. Get back. I have to get back. He tried turning again, this time found himself unable to begin rotating his body before his eyes snapped shut, placing him again in a world of darkness until he opened them. Oh, sorry. Until he opened them again and was confronted with the sight of the small hut in the distance, now looking more far away than ever. I have to get back. Kishan kept facing the building and took a step back. As he placed his foot on the ground, he felt a gust of wind knock him forward. He let out a yelp in terror. Instinctively, his hand reached for the opposite of the ledge's catwalk as he felt trying to steady himself for fear of falling off. The catwalk was inside long enough that his body didn't land close enough to the edges for that to have been a risk, and yet as he looked towards the edge, he felt a growing sense of dread. There was something down there that would capture him if he allowed it to catch even the smallest hold of him. Almost as he thought, he felt the sensation, something pressed against his leg. He stumbled to his feet. He ran forward. The hut ahead of him seemed to grow no closer as he ran. But he ran all the same, running not to reach a destination, but to be away from whatever it was that was behind him. Moments ago, only his thought was an overwhelming desire to turn back, a worry he was somehow trapped in here. But now, that worry was replaced with an overwhelming sense of dread that propelled him forward. He had been pushed forward by something. Something was behind him. John leaned forward and ran. He was no runner. He often found himself wounded when forced to climb more than one flight of stairs. And yet, he ran and ran. He felt no sense of tiredness holding him back. No need to catch his breath. Maybe it was the sick air that somehow never allowed him to run out of breath. Maybe it was the fear of whatever it was behind him that was strong. John felt the air stinging his eye as he ran. But now he's running so fast that the sick air felt like hot wind on his face. Tears began running down his face, but he couldn't find it in him to raise a hand to wipe his eyes. That would mean slowing his sprint. So he closed his eyes, fully aware that he was running down a catwalk that had no handrail on either side. At this point, he didn't care. He ran and ran. Long after the tears on his face had dried, Kishan realized he could only hear the sound of his own feet as they struck the catwalk. He couldn't even hear the rush of the wind, even as it seemed to buffet his face. There were no sounds of anyone or anything pursuing him. Perhaps there were no pursuer after all. Sorry, I read it wrong. Perhaps there was no pursuer at all. He allowed himself to open his eyes and look down. He looked over his shoulders. This time, there was no blinding light, only a distant glow, like the light at the end of a long tunnel. In a way, it was a light at the end of a long tunnel, and observing the dimly glow of the distant light, Kishan suddenly realized how far he had run. He turned around and saw the building right in front of him. It had windows that were covered in the same form that covered the ground around him. Kishan reached for the door handle. He had expected to be locked and felt a moment of panic as the handle bowed under the pressure of his hand. Was he ready to face what's on the other side of the door? Did he even want to enter? Did he have a choice? What was it that awaited him inside this building? Excuse me. Answers or more baffling questions? Kishan looked down the tunnel and suddenly felt cold. Whatever this place was, he needed to escape it, and only from an egress that it seemed available to him was the door of his building. He leaned on the handle and felt the door swing open. Oh, so that's how he came in. He was running away from something. Interesting. Okay, now this door is open. What? Staff only? More reason for me to go? Okay, it's just... I can't get in here. Oh, back to the terminal. More rooms here. Let me in. Ooh. Judgment. Where's Kashan? Kashan? Are you not up here? Oh, there you are. Why do you look so... Oh. Okay, I thought he was more like, ugh, stay away from me. Stay away from me. Get back here so you can stay away from me. Stay away from me. I like that. I like quite a lot. Please wait. I waited long enough. Oh. Excuse me. Actor. Oh. Can I? Okay. And next thing I can just... Oh god, this looks so awkward. Oh, because what the... What the heck? There we go. Scroll down. And next thing I could just do like this. Place it here. Make it go down here. Make it like this. No, like this, right? And how do you change? No. What the heck is half of these settings? Edit face. That's a lot of things you can customize. Okay. With base color? What the heck? I could just make them dark. Here, darkness. Okay. I am not the kind of person to be tossed with this kind of mode, since I have no idea. In terms of creativity, like when it comes to making animation, is like none. No experience. I'm surprised they actually have this like mode though. Oh no, I'm back here again. Go up the stairs. What the heck? Oh, okay. Huh. Same thing here though. So each level brings new stories. Continue. Why does she look so happy? That's concerning. If someone's happy, sure, that's nice. But they look at the too happy. Now that's another question, you know. Ooh, pretty. Day 2, 5 p.m. outside the terminal. You right? Yeah, I guess. Cool. Mind if I join you? Go for it. Hurry? You want a dairy? I'm sorry, Dairy. Calm it down. Cigarette. You want to smoke or not? Oh, right, of course. Yeah, sure. Sorry, it's been a weird day. Next. No worries. Where you from then? You were the first to ask. I live in Collingwood. Oh yeah? Whereabouts? Smith Street. It's pricey up there these days, isn't it? Bet you like our Alpha Toast. Piss off. I've got housemates. Well, I know what you mean. Bit off. Being dead and all that. Takes some getting used to. Like I can expect keywords. Ned certainly knows what to get used to being dead. I didn't know that was a feature. People keep saying that, but it doesn't make me feel any better. I understand. Do you? We can as much as anyone can, yeah. Right. Hey, what's Albatos actually taste like? I never taste it. Can you just go out and eat some? I'm sure Maddie can whip it up for you if you ask. Avocados are a highly malevolent fruit. Don't trust them one bit. Plus, I got this whole situation. Oh, so that's what the straw's for. You got it. So, what does it taste like? I don't know, like avocado and toasted bread. Avocado's kind of cold and mushy, but it's got a good taste. Like peas? Definitely better than mushy peas. Love me a bowl of peas, mate. Well, cause they're the only thing you can eat through a straw. Watch yourself. Got a zap me with your death council powers? First off, it's the Council of Death, not Death Council. They're totally different things. Second, you really think is that what we do? We walk around shooting lightnings out of our fingers? Well, if you put it like that, it sounds a bit silly, yeah. We don't do anything like that. We just keep things run smoothly, is all. Harassing cafe owners to settle their time debt isn't something we like to do often. So you just keep the peace. That's fucking ironic as that sounds. Yeah, Ned keeps the peace. Dude, I know. Want another? Sure. My dude's lung. Well, it's not like he cares anyways. He's dead anyways. Nice. I love the sunrise here. They're alright. You watch, wait. You watch many sunrises, Ned? Not enough, no. Even semi-immortals need their sleep. I like to sit here and watch it, even when it's cloudy or raining. There's just something about watching the sunrise that makes it easier to deal with the coming day. Feeling optimistic all of a sudden. No, I still feel like shit. What about you, Kashan? Kashan? I don't feel great. I'm still having a lot of troubles, You guys, I'm dead, and I've only got a couple of hours left before I got to go, and I don't think anyone here probably understands what it's like to see a last sunrise ever without any idea what comes next. It's really fucking terrifying. And I'm never going to see my friends or my boyfriend or my friend or my family again. I'm just going to pass on, and I'll never know what they will remember me and mourn me, or if I'm ever going to be remembered as a good dude who tried his best, or even I'll forgotten within a year. But that good dude who tried his best couldn't even win a freaking game of five-finger fillet in a basement of a cafe that literally basically sits on the banks of the Styx as far as I could remember. And God, I can't even tell if that matters. Or the Styx hot, low, high? I can't even tell. I'm so disoriented. I'm so desperately trying to feel something, but all I feel is I'm slipping away with every second. I'm losing myself by degrees, and that's incredibly scary. I don't even know how to deal with it. Sorry, could be more emotional. Yeah, fair cop. I actually came out to apologize for that. The game. Oh, for God's sake, Maddie, you have been gambling again. Can't admit. Kishan, I shouldn't have taken that time for you. You took it fair and square. I don't feel like I did, so I'm getting it back. Believe me, I'm as surprised as you are. I don't usually do this. What's different this time? It's my business. I can't believe you're still swindling people out of hours to try and fix your debt. Dude, I know. It's bloody undignified. It's a clear violation of the rule. I'll banish you right now, my man. Why is he so short? I thought you stopped pulling that crap once you took... Oh. I thought you stopped pulling that crap once you took ownership of Che. You really think doing this is going to help you pay out the step? Yes. This is a nice frame. Absolutely. And if you got any bright ideas on how to do it otherwise, I'm all ears. We should never grant you the Che's license to practice. The actual reckless necromancers we could. Is anyone home? Anyone home? Hello? Anyone home? I'll make a pretty good case for the importance of occupational licensing. You obviously failed to be responsible with them. You really think we won't be doing it if we didn't have the license, Bushman? Given your history and the hypocrisy of this play here is astonishing. It's all behind me, and you know it. I've been working on doing some good for the last 100 years. With the council? Really? Yes, we maintain the balance. You know why that's important. Sure I do. I don't need your moralizing at me from your ivory tower. Give it a rest, guys. But I'm pulling the last day on Earth card. Good. I'll be inside. Come find me when you want those hours back, Hashan. For what it's worth, I'm sorry about this. I've never been to the other side. I was too afraid to leave. Walked the lands for decades, evading the councils. That's a crime they call revocancy, staying too long, upsetting the balance. Well, you are booting me straight to the next place or some kind of eternal punishment. The council offered me a job. Then may have forgotten some of the sins of his past, but he's pretty sure he wouldn't be going to heaven. Sorry, that's all the stuff you don't care, I suppose. Yeah, it's interesting enough. Nah, I'm just filling up empty here. You should head back inside to grab those hours back. Truth to be told, I'm not feeling especially fond of Maddie right now. She might have been dishonest with you, but even I can tell she's at the end of her rope. And you might not be able to see it yet, but I think the people in there are fond of you. You think so? Maddie wouldn't have offered hours back if there wasn't something different about you. Plus, that Ashley seems to like you. Yeah. I guess. She kinda just dragged me off and got me to hold screwdrivers for her. Trust me, she thinks you're great. Go on inside and say hi. I've got my business to go to stick my nose into anyways. Alright, catch you in a bit. I've got some questions about the council. Of course, I won't be out for long. Later, mate. My bottle caps, they fell. Yeah. I found a hidden bottle cap. I have a 5 now. I found another hidden water bottle. Yeah. Is there any more? I don't think there is any more. Okay. Let's see. How many bottle caps do I have? 1, 2. I have 6 bottle caps. There we go. Hey. Yo. Do you want those hours back? I guess so. It's only 4 hours. I don't think it will make much difference. 4 hours. That's 1/6 of your whole entire hours you can stay. Yeah, it's okay. I'll prefer that you have them. Ashley's been enjoying having you around. Just Ashley? And me too, I guess. You seem pretty reluctant to admit that, my dude. Don't psychoanalyze me. Sit still for a moment. Alright, lay your hand on mine and place your index finger on my wrist. This is a part of your ritual or just an excuse to hold hands? Shut up. Thanks. Watch carefully, and no matter what you do, don't move your hand. Using a binding spell used to make sure that doesn't happen, but I ran out of reagents required and probably don't care about that. True. Alright, yep. I get this time freely without coercion. What do you say? As above, so below. I maintain the balance. Oh. I maintain the balance. That's it? How do you feel? I actually feel better. I feel less itchy. Yeah, we weren't kidding about that yesterday. As you linger, it begins to upset the balance, and as I understand it, it doesn't feel good. Yeah. Why does Ned get to stick around then? Does he just ignore it? The councils are a special case. They're more similar to demigods or demons than they are to us. It's fascinating. Tell me about it. I have joined ages ago, but they're uptight dicks. They don't seem so bad to me. That's because you cannot run into any of their ridiculous rule. Your bloody regulations on manipulating life force and certain standards on treatments of spirits. But standards, there got to be more exclusive terms for human rights for all the not quite human entities that are floating around. Is that why you gave me the hours back? Because Ned realized you broke the rules? No, those are within the guidelines despite his bustering. I gave them back because I felt bad, that is all. Oh neat, so pity me. I love that. I'm actually really into it. No dude, it's not like that at all. You don't need to clarify it. I get it. Seriously. Now stay on Earth. Moving on. Fine. Sure. I'm sorry. Sorry, I gotta serve this customer. No help. Really, it's probably not a two-person job. Sometimes two people working, the task would be less efficient than one. Sometimes Kashan doesn't care. Yep. Day 2, 6 p.m. The terminal. Phew. Anything else that he's doing? Now I'm gonna take this tray of glasses into the kitchen. You go chill a bit. I'll take them. You need a break. Sure. Where's the kitchen? You'll find it eventually. Cool. Back in a minute. Your pawns are nothing to compare to the raw powers of my castle. Is she gonna castle? Nothing. Yeah. What's this then? Oh, we're rooks. How does she... Bruh. My castle? You brought low by my own hubris. No, it was just a pawn. And maybe a little bit of hubris. At least she's actually driving. It's hard for him to feel like he's doing the wrong thing. Maybe that makes him overconfident, but it makes him feel just the right amount of confident. Light. Ah! You're the castle, and... Check, you say? Oh, I didn't think of that. You activated my trap card. Oh, hey, Maddie. Come check this out. What the heck's over painting in the background? See it on the top right corner? I checked him into a false sense of security. Oh man, that's embarrassing. You seriously let her outmaneuver you that hard? Yes. I'm very ashamed. I suppose the real hubris was inside me all along. I freaking love winning. You should try doing this more often. A chance win at chess. Could grow into a big winning streak, you know? You wanna play something with us? I carefully head back down to the bar. There's nobody there. Come on, take a load off. If anyone needs you, they'll know where to find you. Have them grab us all a drink, then make sure there's nobody waiting down there. We'll play something. Won't be 5 minutes. You actually gonna come back this time? You never come back. Oof. I'll come back. Promise. Why don't you pick out a game while I'm gone? Let's find something, Ashley. What do you feel like playing today? Something. Something with lots of dice. Dice it is. I keep on forgetting to press the trigger. We'll see you in a minute, Maddie. It's 15 minutes. Oh, okay. What happened to Kashan? What's this? And that's why the 4th seasons are no battle royale was an absolute betrayal. But you still want to be on it one day. Well, yeah. Unless an indie circuit opens up. Like in wrestling. Exactly like wrestling. Billboard's got a local show. I want something like that. You could probably put your own local league together if you worked really hard. Perhaps you could build the robots and get people to battle with them. Human-controlled robots are boring, though. I want to get more of that spirit juice and put together a bigger Ashling. Later in Necromancer realized that spirit juice is not something to play around with. Masters know that playing around is the best way to learn. How big? I think I'll start car size and then move on to more of a bus adjacent form factor. I'm not even sure if we have enough power to one of those. You probably have to get Maddie to source a large amount of it. We'll need liters of it at least. That would be super cool. Did you say it was illegal though? Well, no, technically. But Ned doesn't know, it won't hurt him. He will lose his head if he knows half the things we're doing around here. I don't know, he seems pretty lenient with you, right? He wasn't always like that. A long time before you turned up, he nearly shut me down because I... Who would you believe is because I sheltered a criminal? Ned's nearly shut you down just because of that? Am I thinking of the same criminal you are? Trust me, the irony was apparent. I found it really very funny. What kind of criminal were they? Just a minor demon on the run. Most demons aren't lucky enough to find someone as welcoming as Che, especially the ones that haven't had a chance to make a name for themselves. I don't know what she did to get the price on her head. I just took her in when she stumbled through the door, dripping blood everywhere. Hey. Oh. That's metal. It was extremely metal. How long did you manage to hide her for? Oh, not too long. Maybe 6 weeks? The time flew by, if I'm being honest. Why is that? Was she from the clock well? No, nothing like that. We, bonded. Magically? How'd you do that? I thought I heard you telling Maddie that sort of thing was impossible between beings on this plane. Oh god. No, not magically. We were... lovers. Ew. Yuck. Ew. Happier days. I love hearing about you when you were young and reckless. Gosh, what do you think I am now, huh? Old and boring? Definitely old. Despite myself, I must say you're definitely not boring. There's the patent and Maddie charm. Well, you know me, I'm full of them. Oh yeah. Charms. Excess. Curses. That's all on your account, old man. I won't deny it. Hey, Maddie. Hey dude, having trouble finding the kitchen? Yeah, I couldn't. I checked everywhere. It's just behind the bar, man. You can't miss it. I told you, I checked everywhere. Nah, you're not catching my drift. It's just behind the bar. You can't miss it. Have another look. It'll be there this time. Some things you gotta remind the quantums always that they exist. Fine. How long are you gonna keep him here, Maddie? Oh, we're keeping him? No, we're not keeping him. I'm gonna let him stay as long as he wants. He'll leave on his own accord at some point. You feel sorry for him? Weirdly, yes. I don't usually get attached to customers, but he's a good dude. I like him. Do you like him because he's nice? Or because he was good at passing your tools over? Yes. Don't get too attached. He's not gonna be here forever. Well, duh. I know how it works. I enjoy having him around just like as you taught me. My throat is dying out, sorry. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Ashley? That was from the motivational calendar I drew out last week. I never said that. Yes, same. I'm used to people moving on at this point. I can deal with it. Good. Another 15 minutes later. Pure silence. Pretty stars. Hey, Ned's back. The hell? Fuck. Yeah. You gonna keep staring at the coffee stain or nah? Yes. Okay, whatever. What do you want from this conversation? I'm an open book as far as matter of life and death are concerned. Yeah. I don't want to go. I know you probably heard this from, I don't know, 1,000 people or whatever. Given about traffic terminal gets, and how long it's been open, 1,000 people is pretty low estimate. Million. It's not about staying for people or wanting to go back to my own life. It's wonderful and not stressful as that sounds. Like, I'm not afraid of what lies on the other side. I don't think there's any point to worry about until I'm there. I just don't think I've spent enough time here. The cafe? No. All this. I guess you'll call this plain? Roughly speaking, I suppose so. I want to know what you did to be able to stay. Sure. Did Maddie give you those hours back? Yeah. Why? Well, that's a way. You would just find enough hours to stay as a spirit. Half here, half gone. But that's a wretched existence. I wouldn't want to live like that. You find hours though. There's only so many you can get from consistent beings, right? The crappy psychology of gambling aside, you're right, yes. So the question is, how do you do that? How do you create life from nothing? The answer is that you can't. Sean, it's impossible. There's always got to be some kind of balance maintained. For anyone who learns to manipulate fundamental life forces understand that. No matter whenever they're doing good or bad things with their skills. Here's the thing though. You don't need both parties to agree. It's just a social nicety. Something that separates us from, well, people who don't do that. That's where the idea of vampire came from, for example. Those bastards. They're a special entity, they're just dickheads. Anyways, if you can take life force from people, you can also drain it from animals or plants. But in this business, there's a lot of we can't understand. One of the things we can't understand is why life force from animals and plants is tainted. It feels gross. If it didn't, everyone would take it. Consequences be damned. How were you feeling today before Maddie took the hours back? I feel like I was slipping away. Like my mind was getting really foggy. It was really hard to think or put the sentence together. Nobody really noticed though. Typical. Now imagine that but 10 times worse. You're foggy, but there's also fundamentally wrong. Like you're a collection of puzzle pieces that don't quite fit together. Like an engine that's running out of oil. That sounds horrifying, right? So, should I do it? Probably not. Why would I stay here otherwise? Well, you could always go back to the EM and just run for it. But you'll catch me. Not me personally, but yes, the council would eventually. And that's it. That's my only option. Perhaps. Depends how you feel about bonding yourself to eternity to a fundamental neutral arbiter of justice. Outside the neutral arbiter is that they're never on your side. I have no strong feelings about it one way or another. Ours. Would you regret it if you stay here forever instead of moving on? I don't know. I guess that would be up to me, right? What do you mean? In the end, how do I feel about taking a big branch up? In the end, how do I feel like taking a big branch of my life? It's just a matter of how I frame it. I can focus on what I regret, sure, but it's not a useful way to spend my time. If I focus on the future, on everything that's on the possibility space instead of thinking outside of it, there's probably no better for me, yeah? Sure. You don't sound convinced. I'm just oblivious on it. I try not to think about anything too hard these days. But if you're willing to accept the eternal bondage with the councils, I could keep you here. It's not easy work, though. You got to act in the best interest of the system, not as individuals' part. Bureaucracy at its finest. But you learn to deal with it. It just took some time. When you're used to it, you learn not to think too hard about what you're doing. As long as you take a holistic view of everything, things generally shake out alright. We tend to only bother the biggest rule breakers anyways. Maddie being one of them. Habitually. You wouldn't be getting so much leeway if it weren't for Che. I don't understand that guy. He's nice, we chatted a little bit, but what makes him so special? He's provided services in the past. I can count on one hand the number of people who knows as much as about the manipulation of life force as he does. He's been researching it for 100 years. A lot has changed since the day when Che was a young man. No way, he's that old. He looks like, 60 max. Yep, much older than that. Wild. Getting sidetracked though. How do you feel about joining the council? I don't offer willy-nilly, you know. I'm interested, but can I have some time to think about it? How much do you have? You've been out for nearly 25 hours. You're overdue. Put on Maddie's tab. Okay. I assume you're not gonna stick around forever. Unlikely if the next few hours are anything like how I felt this morning. Stick around until you have a solid answer then. Cool. Wanna get drunk? You're already drinking, mate. Nah, Che told me something pretty special he's got behind the bar. Unless it's something really special, he probably offered me some. Even then. So you tried a bottle so? You pulling my leg? Nope. You gotta be mistaken. You haven't seen it in person, have you? Yeah, I actually seen it. That's quite illegal. I expected better of him. Damn it. So we're gonna drink it or not? Council regulation required me to confiscate or to force someone to dispose of it. Ned doesn't steal anymore, he just seizes his assets. It's completely different things. We'll be doing him a favor then. I suppose. Come on, dude. Chase will knock you in for that. When it say you, do you mean me or you? Or just anyone who drinks it? It's like 200% alcohol or something. That's technically impossible. That's not technically possible. But I'll admit, my interest has peaked. Well, let's not waste any time. Oh. This was a setup, wasn't it? Basically, you win. Man. Oh, this looks deadly. Good thing dead people can't get alcohol poisoning. Hey. To bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. Yo, your orders arrived. Duty is late, mate. It got held up by a mutual acquaintance of ours. That'll explain why he's in my hair. I'll be there in half an hour. End of the line. Okay, I think I'll end the stream here. My throat is like almost dead, not gonna lie. Any more I talk, I would just be like, and so Maddie just did this and that. The Katabasis is considered to be a vital part of the hero's narratives every hero goes out to some hell at some point, and the stories usually come back with it, which is the bit that seems to work to me. I don't think that's how it works in real life. The cafe has a bunch of heroes through claiming that they will conquer hell and back. They never return as far as I saw. The idea of Katabasis is that the grand scheme of things, hell or the underworld or Hades or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, it's on the outside wherever you are. If you're trapped on the inside of the sphere, and we'll leave it to go to hell. Did ancient Greeks consider that maybe we've been on the outside this whole time, just waiting to get in? Maybe they did, matter of perspective. I guess I don't ask one sometimes I've ever meet one. But perhaps we're just waiting our entire lives waiting for this, to pass through the firmament to the next place. To be driftwood that washes up to the shore, whatever that next place actually is. Seems weird, but that's actually where we're meant to be. I think it's possible for this world that is some sort of proving ground of anything. Maybe it's just a waiting room, a beautiful, flawed, complex waiting room. Personally, I don't think there's anything like heaven or hell waiting for us. No judgment either. The world doesn't operate in binaries or absolutes. It's just flawed human thinking projected onto things that are much, much more complex than they can ever perceive. I don't think that what's waiting on the other side is even something we can conceptualize. I bet it's cool. It's a shame that it's a one-way trip though. Wow. Philosophy at its finest, I guess. Well, not really. The concept of philosophy. That's the best I can give it to. I don't blame you. Maybe one day soon I'll be able to stop blaming myself too. Flying outside, you can now speak to Tuon and Hannah to experience side story, walking to the sky. Just tune on Hannah. Oh, perfectionist, Hannah on Pillars 3. Team Transcendent. Or Hannah. Ooh, Hannah. Any Hannah here? Actually, Vincent's funeral. Can't leave here yet. Oh, they're up there. Okay, I'll just call it a day here. Oh, thanks for watching though. Hope you enjoyed the stream and my nonchalant rambling and talking of stuff and avocado toast. Sorry that my voice can't really last for that long. I think I've been talking for about like a solid 1 hour, about 2 hours-ish. But so yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy my soothing voice as I've been heard throughout countless of time when I talk to people. Apparently, I don't know why, but yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the stream, and as always, see ya.